The diplomatic vessel of the Galactic Concorde hovered above Sol's skyline, before gently touching down on the designated landing pad. Steam hissed from its silver hull as pressure equalized with Earth's atmosphere. A crowd of officials, scientists, and security personnel waited with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Dr. Hyun stood at the front of the Human Welcoming Committee, her hands clasped tightly behind her back. Beside her, Captain Lee maintained a professional calm, though his eyes constantly scanned for potential threats. This was humanity's first contact with confirmed alien life, and no one knew exactly what to expect. "Remember," Dr. Hyun whispered to her colleagues, "these beings evolved from prey animals. Their psychology is fundamentally different from ours." The ship's entry ramp extended with mechanical precision. The crowd held its collective breath as the first aliens emerged into Earth sunlight. They were tall, slender beings with large, wide-set eyes that could almost see behind them. Their bodies seemed fragile, with thin limbs and elongated fingers. Most striking were their movements, quick, nervous, and constantly alert, like deer in an open field. "Welcome to Earth," Dr. Hyun said, bowing slightly. The lead alien, Ambassador Tulo, according to their earlier communications, returned the gesture. "We bring peaceful greetings from the Galactic Concorde, fellow grazers." Captain Lee raised an eyebrow at the term but said nothing. The aliens were escorted to the newly constructed diplomatic center. Inside the main conference room, they seemed to relax slightly, their postures becoming less rigid as they took in the soft lighting and open spaces designed to put them at ease. "Your world is beautiful," Tulo said through the translation device. "We see many plants for eating. You must be very happy here." Dr. Hyun and Captain Lee exchanged glances. "We do enjoy our plant life," Dr. Hyun replied carefully, "but humans are omnivores. We eat both plants and animals." The translator seemed to struggle with the concept. When understanding finally dawned on the aliens, a visible wave of tension spread through their delegation. Several stepped back, their wide eyes now fixed on the humans' forward-facing eyes. "You consume the flesh of other beings?" Tulo asked, his voice trembling through the translator. "We evolved as persistence hunters," Captain Lee explained, "though many humans now choose plant-based diets." The aliens huddled together, whispering urgently in their musical language. Dr. Hyun frowned, sensing the first contact was already facing complications. One of the younger scientists on the human team, Dr. Jun, approached with a tablet. "Maybe we should show them our cultural achievements, art, music, medicine?" Dr. Hyun nodded. "Good idea." The presentation seemed to calm the aliens somewhat. They showed particular interest in Earth's medical advances and conservation efforts. "Perhaps you are not like the others," Tulo said cryptically. "What others?" Captain Lee asked. "The galaxy is divided," Tulo explained. "Most species evolved from what you would call prey animals. We formed the Concorde for mutual protection and advancement. But there are predator species as well. The Ketra Dominion has long threatened our peace." The diplomatic lunch that followed proved disastrous. Despite warnings from Dr. Hyun, the government officials had insisted on showcasing Korea's culinary heritage, including several meat dishes. When servers brought out platters of bulgogi, the aliens reacted with horror. "You prepare flesh in front of others?" one alien gasped. "Only the Ketra display such barbarity." Captain Lee quickly ordered the dishes removed, but the damage was done. The aliens retreated to the far side of the room, their translator struggling to keep up with their agitated conversation. Dr. Hyun approached Tulo carefully. "We apologize for the misunderstanding. We meant no offense." The alien studied her for a long moment. "Your eyes," he said finally. "They face forward like hunters. Yet you speak of peace and show remorse. You are a contradiction." Later that evening, as the alien delegation rested in their quarters, Dr. Hyun and Captain Lee met with government officials. "They've classified us incorrectly," Dr. Hyun explained. "They think all intelligent species must be either pure predators or pure prey. They don't understand omnivores who developed civilization." "Will this affect our invitation to join the Galactic Concorde?" asked the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Captain Lee looked grim. They're going to introduce us to other species next week, including representatives from this Ketra Dominion. I suspect they want to see how we interact. Dr. Hyun stared out the window at the alien ship glowing softly in the twilight. We need to be careful. These aliens don't understand what humans truly are, and I fear what might happen when they finally figure it out. The massive central station of the Galactic Concord rotated slowly against the backdrop of unfamiliar stars. Dr. Hyun pressed her hand against the viewport, still amazed that she stood billions of miles from Earth, representing humanity at the Interspecies Diplomatic Summit. Impressive, isn't it? Captain Lee said, joining her. He had exchanged his military uniform for formal diplomatic attire, though Dr. Hyun noticed he still carried himself with alert readiness. I never imagined I'd see something like this, she admitted. Look at all these different species. The station's main concourse teemed with alien life. Most resembled Ambassador Tulo's people, tall, graceful beings with wide-set eyes and nervous movements. They gathered in small groups, occasionally glancing at the human delegation with what Dr. Hyun interpreted as curiosity, mixed with unease. They still don't know what to make of us, Captain Lee observed. Ambassador Tulo approached, flanked by two assistants. The Concord Council will see you now. And, he hesitated, his translator struggling with what seemed to be discomfort. The Ketra delegation has requested to attend. Dr. Hyun felt Captain Lee tense beside her. The Ketra, the predator species Tulo had mentioned on Earth, remained a mystery. All requests for information about them had been politely deflected. They followed Tulo through arching corridors into a vast, circular chamber. Representatives from dozens of species sat in tiered seating around a central platform. Most watched the humans with the same nervous curiosity they'd encountered throughout the station. The human delegation from planet Earth, announced a resonant voice as they entered the chamber. Dr. Hyun stepped forward to deliver her prepared greeting, but stopped short as movement caught her eye. From a separate entrance across the chamber, 3 figures entered with smooth, confident strides. The Ketra were shorter than Tulo's people but powerfully built. Their bodies were covered in short, sleek fur, and their hands ended in retractable claws. Most striking were their faces, sharp features dominated by forward-facing eyes that immediately fixed on the humans. The lead Ketra, who introduced himself as Diplomat Min, circled the human delegation slowly. Unlike the translation devices used by Tulo's people, the Ketra spoke through an implant that gave his voice a deep, almost musical quality. So these are the new discovery, Min said, eyes narrowing. Tulo, you have made a grave error in classification. Ambassador Tulo shifted uncomfortably. The humans are peaceful, they create art and music, they value cooperation. Look at their eyes, Min snapped, pointing at Captain Lee. Forward-facing, binocular vision, depth perception for hunting. He sniffed the air near Dr. Hyun. And their scent, unmistakable. The chamber erupted in concerned murmurs. Dr. Hyun stepped forward. We evolved as omnivores, she explained calmly. Yes, our ancestors hunted, but we also gathered plants. Our society is built on cooperation, not predation. Min's expression was unreadable. Show me your teeth. The request was so unexpected that Dr. Hyun hesitated before complying with a small smile. Canines, Min announced to the chamber. Modified, but present. These are not plant eaters, Council. They are predators disguising themselves as prey. Captain Lee moved forward. We are neither purely predator nor prey. Humans are complex. Complex? Interrupted Min. Or deceptive. The tension in the room increased. Several council members moved back in their seats, their wide eyes now fixed on the humans with new wariness. Perhaps a demonstration, suggested one of Min's companions. A guard stepped forward, carrying what appeared to be a small cage. Inside was a creature resembling a rabbit, its nose twitching nervously. If you are truly peaceful plant eaters, Min said, opening the cage and releasing the small animal, you would have no instinct to chase. The creature darted across the chamber floor. Every human in the delegation remained perfectly still. Min nodded with something like satisfaction. Very controlled. But control implies restrained impulse, does it not? Before Dr. Hyun could respond, a commotion broke out at the chamber entrance. A Ketra security officer pushed past the guards, moving with alarming speed toward the human delegation. Captain Lee reacted instantly. As the Ketra lunged at Dr. Hyun, Lee stepped between them, redirecting the attacker's momentum and sending him sprawling to the floor with a precise defensive move. The entire encounter lasted less than 3 seconds. Shocked silence fell over the chamber. "You attacked our diplomat," Ambassador Tulo gasped. "Your diplomat defended against an unprovoked assault," Dr. Hyun countered, heart racing. "With minimal force and without weapons." Min helped his security officer to his feet, a strange expression, almost satisfaction, on his face. The council has its answer. These humans are not what they appear. They have the reactions, the instincts, and the capability of predators. "We did not come here to threaten anyone," Captain Lee said firmly. "We came in peace." "Peace," Min repeated. "The most dangerous predator is the one that convinces its prey it means no harm." He turned to address the council directly. "I formally request the humans be classified as a predator species and appropriate restrictions applied." As the council, chambers erupted in fearful discussion. Dr. Hyun realized their first interstellar diplomatic mission had just become infinitely more complicated. "What now?" she whispered to Captain Lee. "Now," he replied grimly, "we prove we're more than just our evolutionary history." Captain Lee stood at the edge of the landing zone on Nexus 7, watching the alien sunrise paint the rocky landscape in shades of amber and gold. The air was thinner than Earth's but breathable, with a faint metallic taste that reminded him they were far from home. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Dr. Hyun said, joining him. She had traded her formal diplomatic attire for practical survival gear. "Beautiful but dangerous," Lee replied. "The perfect place for their challenge." Behind them, Security Officer Han and Engineer Wu were checking their limited supplies. The Galactic Concord Council had finally reached a decision after 3 days of heated debate. Humans would be tested to determine their true nature. The challenge was simple yet revealing: a survival competition against Ketra hunters on this neutral, uninhabited planet. 4 humans, 4 Ketra, 7 days. No weapons allowed. Across the landing field, the Ketra team emerged from their ship. Even at a distance, their predatory grace was evident. Diplomat Min led his team toward the center of the field where a Concord official waited to explain the rules. "Remember," Captain Lee told his team quietly, "they're stronger and faster than us. But humans have something they don't: endurance and adaptability." The Concord official activated a floating camera drone that would broadcast the competition across the galaxy. "Both teams will be given basic supplies and assigned different territories. You must survive for 7 planetary cycles while completing various tasks. Contact between teams is permitted but not required." Min's gaze locked with Lee's. "We hunt alone," the Ketra diplomat stated. "We work together," Lee responded evenly. The first task was finding water. The humans were assigned the rocky highlands, while the Ketra received the more hospitable lowland forest. As they hiked into the hills, Engineer Wu studied their surroundings with careful attention. "The rock formations suggest underground water sources," she said, "if we can find the right signs." By sunset, while the Ketra had easily located surface water, the human team was still searching. Camera drones hovered nearby, recording their apparent struggle. The council members watching from orbit seemed to take this as confirmation of their limitations. On the second day, everything changed. Wu spotted the subtle signs of a subterranean spring. Using simple tools crafted from their supplies, the team dug a collection basin that provided cleaner water than the stagnant ponds the Ketra were using. The third day brought a new challenge: finding food. The Ketra were natural hunters, who easily caught the small rodent-like creatures that scurried through the underbrush. The human team took a different approach. "These berries are similar to species on Earth," Dr. Hyun explained, carefully testing each variety. Meanwhile, Han constructed simple snares, demonstrating human hunting techniques that required patience rather than speed. By the fourth day, observers noted a pattern emerging. The Ketra excelled at immediate challenges but struggled with long-term planning. The humans moved more slowly but more efficiently, conserving their energy and resources. "They're watching us," Security Officer Han noted as they prepared their camp for the night. A Ketra scout observed them from a distant ridge. "Let them watch," Lee replied. "Let them learn." The fifth day brought a violent storm that swept across the planet's surface. The Ketra, who had built only minimal shelters, were forced to abandon their camp. The human team, however, had constructed a sturdy shelter against the rock face, reinforced with a clever drainage system designed by Wu. When the Concord official announced an emergency medical challenge on the sixth day, the team's different approaches became most apparent. One of Min's hunters had been injured during the storm, a deep gash that required treatment. To everyone's surprise, Dr. Hyun approached the Ketra camp with medicinal plants she had collected. "Your hunter is injured," she said to Min. "These can help prevent infection." Min studied her with suspicious eyes. "Why would you help your opponents?" "Because that's what humans do," she replied simply. On the final day, as both teams made their way back to the landing zone, the difference was clear to all watching. The Ketra moved quickly but showed signs of exhaustion and minor injuries. The human team walked steadily, conserving energy, their supplies carefully managed to the end. When they reached the finish point, Captain Lee extended his hand to Diplomat Min in the human gesture of respect. After a moment's hesitation, Min took it. "You hunt differently than we do," the Ketra acknowledged. "We evolved beyond just hunting," Lee replied. "We learned to adapt, to plan, and to cooperate." As they boarded the transport ship back to the station, Engineer Wu glanced at the broadcast feeds. Billions of beings across the galaxy had watched their performance. Most looked shocked. "They really didn't understand us at all, did they?" she asked quietly. "No," Dr. Hyun replied. "But they're beginning to." In the Concord Council chamber, the debate had already begun. The humans had demonstrated behaviors that didn't fit neatly into either predator or prey categories. They showed hunting instincts and tactical thinking, yet also cooperation and compassion. "What are they?" a council member asked in confusion. Ambassador Tulo, who had watched every moment of the challenge, finally spoke. "They are something the galaxy has never seen before, and I believe we must reconsider everything we thought we knew about them." "Doctor?" Hyun rubbed her tired eyes as she studied the document before her. 3 weeks had passed since the challenge on Nexus 7, and the Concord station buzzed with new energy. Word of the humans' performance had spread across the galaxy, creating ripples of both fear and hope. A soft chime at her door interrupted her thoughts. "Enter," she called. The door slid open to reveal a small, nervous alien she recognized as a representative from Lumina, a world on the outer edges of Concord space. The Luminans resembled delicate deer with iridescent skin that reflected light in subtle patterns. "Forgive the intrusion," the Luminan said, glancing anxiously at the corridor behind him. "I am Representative Sewell. I must speak with you privately." "Doctor," Hyun gestured to the empty seat across from her. "What can I do for you, Representative?" Sewell settled awkwardly in the chair. "What you did on Nexus 7, helping the injured Ketra. Is it true your people would do this even for those who threaten you?" "Often, yes," Dr. Hyun replied. "We believe that compassion can be a strength, not a weakness." Sewell's skin flickered with emotional colors. "My people need that strength. For centuries, we have paid tribute to the Ketra. Food, resources, technology. We are not the only ones." Dr. Hyun leaned forward. "Tribute? The Concord allows this?" "The Concord?" Sewell hesitated. "The Concord knows but does not interfere. The Ketra provide protection in exchange. This is how it has always been." Before Dr. Hyun could respond, her communication device buzzed urgently. Captain Lee's voice came through, tense and controlled. "We need you in the command center immediately." When she arrived, Lee stood with Engineer Wu and Security Officer Han, all staring at a large display screen. Ambassador Tulo hovered nearby, his usual composure shattered. "What's happened?" Dr. Hyun asked. Captain Lee pointed to the screen. Long-range sensors detected movement near the Ketra homeworld. They're mobilizing their fleet. The screen showed hundreds of ships moving into formation, their sleek, predatory designs unmistakable even to human eyes unfamiliar with alien technology. "How many ships?" she asked. "Over 300, Wu replied grimly. "And they appear to be heading toward Earth." Ambassador Tulo trembled visibly. "This is unprecedented. The Ketra have never gathered such a force. They see us as the first real threat to their dominance," Lee said, his voice calm despite the gravity of the situation. "They're not going to wait for us to build up our defenses." Dr. Hyun's mind raced. "How long do we have?" "At their current speed, 3 weeks before they reach Earth," Wu answered. "Our planet has no defense against this kind of force." Throughout the day, more representatives like Sul approached the human delegation secretly. Species that had long lived under Ketra influence now saw humans as potential allies. By evening, Dr. Hyun found herself in a secured conference room with delegates from 17 different worlds. "We have technology we can share," offered a representative from Teller, a world known for its advanced energy systems. "But our people have never fought." "My people have medicines that heal almost any wound," added another delegate. "But we have no warriors." Captain Lee studied the assembled aliens thoughtfully. "You don't need warriors. You need defenders." Over the next days, a plan formed. Earth sent urgent messages to mobilize its limited space forces, while the allied species began secretly transporting technology and resources to human ships. Engineer Wu worked tirelessly with alien technicians to integrate their advanced systems with Earth's more primitive vessels. Meanwhile, Dr. Hyun made a discovery that changed their understanding of the conflict. "Look at these historical records," she told Captain Lee, displaying ancient Concord documents that had been quietly provided by Sul. The Ketra weren't always dominant. They manipulated the Concord species, convincing them they needed protection from imaginary threats. "They created a protection racket on a galactic scale," Lee said, shaking his head in disbelief. On the 10th day, as the human-led coalition prepared their defense strategy, they received an unexpected visitor. Diplomat. Min entered the command center, flanked by Concord security. "You are making a mistake," Min stated flatly. "My people have ruled the stars for 10,000 years. Your primitive species cannot hope to stand against us." "We don't want to rule," Dr. Yun replied. "We just want to live in peace." Min's expression hardened. Peace is the lie prey tell themselves when they have no choice. Power is the only reality. "Then you've misunderstood both peace and power," Captain Lee said. "Humans don't seek dominance, we seek connections." As Min left, Ambassador Tulo approached the human delegation, his manner hesitant but determined. "The Concord Council has reached a decision. They will not interfere in this conflict." "And you?" Dr. Hyun asked. "What have you decided?" Tulo straightened to his full height. "I will stand with humanity. It is time for the galaxy to evolve beyond predator and prey." As Earth prepared for its first interstellar war, Dr. Hyun stood at the viewport watching allies load supplies onto transports. Species that had never before raised a hand in their own defense now worked alongside humans, learning not to hunt, but to protect. "We're teaching them something new," she said softly. "A third path." Captain Lee nodded. "Let's hope the Ketra can learn it too." The bridge of the human flagship Guardian hummed with activity as Captain Lee studied the tactical display. "Are the Sui?" Blue sphere glowed behind them, precious and vulnerable. Before them, space rippled as the Ketra fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel. 327 ships detected, Engineer Wu reported, her voice steady despite the tension. "Formation suggests standard Ketra hunting pattern." Dr. Hyun stood beside the communication station, where Ambassador Tulo watched with wide, nervous eyes. "They've never faced resistance before," the ambassador whispered. "Not like this, Yamiyai." Ketra ships were beautiful in their predatory design, sleek, angular vessels built for speed and attack. They moved with coordinated precision, spreading out to surround the smaller human-led fleet. "They're expecting us to run, security officer," Han observed. "Like prey," Captain Lee nodded. "Then let's surprise them." He activated the ship-wide communication system. "All vessels hold position. Remember your training. We are the line between Earth and destruction. We stand together." The coalition fleet was smaller, just 89 ships, but diverse in design and capability. Vessels from 17 different worlds formed a protective sphere around Earth, each contributing unique technologies hastily integrated with human tactical systems. The main view screen flickered as a transmission came through. Admiral Min's face appeared, his expression one of amused confidence. "Captain Lee, this display is impressive but futile. Surrender now and we will allow your species to exist under Ketra guidance." "We decline your offer," Lee replied calmly. "We propose instead a new relationship between our peoples, one based on mutual respect rather than dominance." Min's expression hardened. "You have taught the food to fight back. This cannot be permitted." The transmission cut off. Moments later, the forward Ketra vessels launched their attack. The battle that followed would later be studied in academies across the galaxy. The Ketra expected to face frightened prey species fighting alongside inexperienced humans. Instead, they encountered a coordinated defense unlike anything in their history. Talarian energy shields absorbed attacks that should have destroyed the smaller vessels. Luminance sensor arrays detected Ketra stealth ships attempting to flank the coalition. And at the center, human commanders directed the battle with a strange mixture of aggression and restraint that confused the Ketra tactical computers. "They're trying to break through Sector 7, Wu called out as the battle entered its second hour. "Redirect the Talarian ships to reinforce," Lee ordered, "and prepare medical transports for the damaged Ketra vessels." Dr. Hyan looked up, sharply. "Medical transports?" "Yes," Lee confirmed. "We're not here to exterminate. We're here to change the rules." As the battle progressed, the Ketra advantage in numbers began to falter against the Coalition's unexpected strategy. When Ketra ships were disabled, human vessels moved in, not to destroy but to rescue survivors and provide medical aid. This pattern repeated across the battlefield, bewildering the Ketra commanders. 6 hours into the battle, Admiral Min's flagship launched a desperate strike directly at the Guardian. 3 human ships moved to intercept, absorbing devastating damage to protect their command vessel. "They're breaking formation," Han reported as the Ketra fleet began to scatter. "Their command structure is faltering." Captain Lee's voice remained calm. "Target Admiral Min's propulsion systems only, then offer assistance." The precise strike left the Ketra flagship drifting but intact. The remaining Ketra vessels, seeing their admiral disabled but not destroyed, hesitated in confusion. "Open." "A channel to Admiral Min," Lee ordered. The Ketra admiral appeared on screen, his command center damaged but functional. Smoke drifted behind him as his crew fought to restore systems. "You could have destroyed us," Min said, his voice containing a new note of uncertainty. "That's not who we are," Lee replied. "We're offering ceasefire terms. Mercy is not the way of predators," Min countered. Dr. Hyun stepped forward. "That's where you're wrong, Admiral. True apex species don't need to prove their dominance through constant violence. The strongest predators protect their territories and only hunt what they need." For a long moment, Min was silent. Around his flagship, the Coalition fleet maintained position, weapons ready but not firing. "I would speak with you directly," the Admiral finally said. "On your vessel." An hour later, Admiral Min stood in the Guardian's conference room studying the assembled representatives of the Coalition worlds. His gaze lingered on species that had paid tribute to the Ketra for generations, now standing tall beside human officers. "In 10,000 years," Min said slowly, No species has done what you have done today. You fought like predators but showed mercy like... He struggled for the concept. Like humans, Dr. Hyun supplied. Neither purely predator nor prey, but something evolution created to bridge worlds. The peace treaty took days to negotiate. The Ketra agreed to end their tribute system. The Concord species gained new protections, and humanity found itself in an unexpected role, mediators between the galaxy's predators and prey. On the final day of negotiations, Captain Lee and Dr. Hyun stood at the observation deck of the Guardian, watching Earth rotate peacefully below. "They're calling us protective predators now," Lee said, showing her a report from the Concord Council. Dr. Hyun smiled. A new classification for a new era. Beyond the viewport, ships from dozens of worlds moved in peaceful formation, no longer divided by ancient evolutionary boundaries, but united in a more complex understanding of what it meant to be an advanced species. "We came to the stars, hoping to find new worlds," Dr. Hyun said softly. "Instead, we helped create one."